Hello everybody and welcome to my 22nd video on YouTube. A couple weeks ago we had presumably the final Nintendo Switch focused Direct, and at the end of that Direct we got a new game announced for 2026. And that game was Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, or Tomodachi Life 2, the long awaited sequel people have been asking for ever since the original on the 3DS. Now if you watched my reaction to the Switch Direct, you can see that I was a little excited.
I'm a buckle. Tornado saw Hanji Clausen yesterday.
What is this?
How refreshing.
What is this? No way. No way, are they actually doing it?
Tomodachi Life.
It's a new Tomodachi Life! Oh my god! And now it's my most anticipated game for 2026. Now if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you have at least a small idea of what the original Tomodachi Life is, so I'm not going to go into detail explaining everything about it, but I'll give you a short summary. In Tomodachi Life, you have an island, and on that island, you can create Miis to live on it. You can basically create as many Miis as you want, up to 100 Miis, which would be pretty insane to take care of. But as the game moves in real life time, different events will happen throughout the day, or Miis will come up with like problems for you to solve and stuff, and you can give them different clothes, you can give them food if they need food, you can give them new interiors for their apartments just to customize the look. And that is basically Tomodachi Life in a nutshell. I mean, it's not the most complicated game ever, and obviously there's more to it than what I said, but in a quick gist, Miis that live on an island that you can take care of, and it's just a really cozy little game. And I wanted to make this video talking about my predictions and desires for Tomodachi Life 2. Now I'm going to try and keep this video a bit shorter because in my video about Switch 2 I did a lot of yapping. It ended up being almost 30 minutes, and before editing it was almost 50, so I'm going to try and keep this shorter. So let's get right into it. And first off, I want to make a quick prediction that I think is a very safe prediction as well. Tomodachi Life Living the Dream will be on the Switch 2. It is coming out in 2026, and even though it was in the Switch Direct, for the original Switch, there's no way they're releasing a Switch game in 2026 that's not going to come to Switch 2. I highly doubt that. Now, we did not get that long of a look at Tomodachi Life, but we can already pick out a few things that looks a lot different from the original game. First off, look at all the Miis that are outside and doing actions that you would normally see them doing inside their houses or apartments in the original game. Like, we can see Miis sleeping outside, having a fight outside. And what I think this means is that we will be able to interact with our Miis outside of their designated house. Maybe you can interact with them just by tapping on them wherever they are, because normally in the original game you can only, feed them or talk to them when they were inside their house. But here, at the very end, we see a dream sequence happen. It looks like we are interacting with the Mii, and they are outside. Obviously, they're not living on the bench that's right there. But speaking of their apartments, I don't see any apartments here. I only see houses. And in the original game, houses were only meant for married Miis. So it looks like in this game, we may have a designated house for each Mii instead of apartments. Now, we never got a look on the inside of any of these houses, but there's two things I think could happen here. One, the houses are still a similar size to the original apartments in the first game, or the houses can be like the houses in the original game where they have multiple rooms. But in the original game, we weren't really able to explore those rooms. The Miis just kind of went throughout them automatically. Having multiple rooms to customize in a house would be really cool, but let's just take the more simple idea that it's going to be one room. I would like to see interactable interiors. Now, the original game to me is almost perfect, and I love everything about it, but there's always one thing that has bugged me. The Miis will never interact with what interior you give them. And I think it would just bring a lot more life to their, living areas, because in the original game you would have, say just like a simple living room interior, but they would always sit on the floor instead of actually interacting with the chairs or tables that are in the interior. Or there's more unique interiors like a pet cage with a hamster wheel, and it would be funny to give them this kind of interior and just check in on your Mii and see them running on a hamster wheel, I think that would be really cool to see them actually interact with these interiors in the future. But say we went a more complicated route and we had multiple rooms, or we don't have traditional interiors. Maybe they take a more Animal Crossing type approach and you have to decorate great with different furniture, not just full interiors. So you could change like specifically the wallpaper or have a specific chair over here, and you can make it as normal or wacky as you want. And you know, it'd be really cool to have that kind of system, but I think both systems would work out really well as long as those interiors are able to be interacted with by your Miis. Something else I would like to see is something I'm sure they will do, but just add more. And by add more, I mean more items. Take everything from the original game, every single item, and just add more. More food, more interiors, more clothes, more gifts. That's something I would love to see, is more gifts. I feel like after a while, when you have over 100 Miis, the gifts become a little bit limited. So if they added more of anything, that's what I want to see them add more of. Give us more problems to solve than just asking for food or different clothes or an interior, which they do have other problems than that, but most likely you're dealing with one of those three. Something else I would like to see them do is add more customizable relationships whenever you're creating a Mii. Because in the first game, it would be a little bit awkward if you had a Mii that was like the son or daughter of another Mii, and they ended up, you know, falling in love. Obviously, it's something that you could just deny, but it was still awkward. So it would be cool if you were creating your Mii, you could say, select another existing Mii to say, hey, this Mii is the son or daughter of this Mii, so they cannot fall in love. I think that would be a really nice quality of life change and would just prevent some of the weirdness from happening. Now, I don't know what it would be, but I would like to see at least one new category of problem, because we had 4 categories in the original game. You had your classic problem, which was just this like black squiggly. You had what I always called a friend request, which is just a orange bubble that usually had to do with another islander, which, you know, could be asking to be friends with somebody, or if 2 Miis got into a fight. It was just a problem dealing with other islanders. Then you had games, which were a green bubble where you could just play a game with your Mii. And that'd be something else that'd be cool to see too, is some more complicated games to play with your Miis, and maybe even games that combine multiple Miis, because the Switch is going to be more powerful, obviously, than the 3DS, and you can do a lot more with that. And then you have a blue rain cloud bubble for when Miis, you know, get sad, usually whenever they get rejected by their crush, or a friend, like, denies their apology after they get into a fight. Oh yeah, and I guess that would be 5, because they also have the love heart, which obviously is when a Mii falls in love and wants to ask somebody out or ask to get married. So it would be cool to see what they might do with like another category or 2. It's not something that I would be devastated if it didn't add, but it would just add for some more variety. Now, by this point, you may have noticed that I'm mainly just talking about adding on to things they already had in the original. And that is kind of on purpose, because I don't really think they need to change up the game too much, and I think if they want this game to succeed, they should not make any huge changes, because they want to keep that original charm the first one had. That's something the first one had a lot, and I'm hoping they can get right with this one too, is that the first game just had so much charm to it. So I feel like if they want to keep that, they just need to basically take the original game, add on to it, and not make any huge differences to how it plays. And from what we saw so far, it looks like they're doing exactly that. The Miis are outside. It looks like you can interact with them outside. Like I said, the Miis have houses now instead of apartments from what it looks like. And I didn't really see any huge differences from the original. You could see a Mii sleeping. You could see 2 Miis getting into a fight. So what it looks like to me is that it will be the same game, just with more. And I think that is going to be the best idea going into this game, because the people who are going to be buying this game are the fans of the original. Obviously, we'll have newcomers, but anybody who is a fan of the original game is going to be getting the second one. I know I am. I don't really have that much else to say. I'm really excited for this second game. I'm disappointed they didn't show any more in the Switch 2 Direct, but I know it'll be coming to Switch 2, and I hope we get to see more of it soon. I guess one more thing I can mention before signing off here is that I do like the new art style. The Miis look great, and the general cel-shaded look of it all, honestly, it looks pretty cool, and it looks like a perfect way to modernize the Mii. Hopefully we'll get like added on, you know, extra options for creating Miis, and they expand on the original Mii creator, just because we do have a lot of options, but there can always be more. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If I think of anything else after this is uploaded, I'm probably just gonna put it in the description or pinned comment, because I really don't feel like recording this again. These about videos are always really hard for me to record because I'm just bad at talking. You can probably notice how many cuts there are in these videos, and there's a reason for that. But I still enjoy making them, and I enjoy being able to kind of talk about this with you guys, because it's just, I don't know, it's fun. Okay, so That was a lie. But I figured this is too important of a discovery that I've made to leave out of the video. When I went over to my girlfriend's house today, we decided to rewatch the Tomodachi Life 2 trailer. And we noticed something that I'm kind of surprised we didn't notice before. If you look in the back of the shot, you can see in between what looks like the new pawn shop and grocery store, a place called Quik Build, with a hand placing a block as its symbol. And this has got me thinking. I do not think this store is for interiors, because we have an interior store already. I think this is to build the island itself. Because if you zoom out here, look at the island. Something that kind of stuck out to me during one of my rewatches is that the island does look a little boring. It doesn't look like the traditional island in Tomodachi Life 1. It looks very square. But I think there's a reason for that. It almost looks like everything is placed on a grid. So, what if this Quik Build shop allows you to build on the island, expand the island, build houses for new Miis, customize the island and everything on it, all the decorations. Maybe this is Tomodachi Life 2's main gimmick, because in the first game, you could only customize, say, your Mii's clothing or, you know, set interiors for the inside of their buildings. And maybe this Quik Build place could also have something to do with interiors as well, but I think I'm right here. So for my additional prediction and desire, I think this Quik Build shop is going to be our way of expanding and decorating and building upon the island in a way that we just never could before. But anyways, let me get back to the video. I just thought this was way too important for me not to include. But I would love to see your opinions too. Like, what do you agree with me on? What do you disagree with me on? Or just give me your own ideas, something I didn't mention. What do you want to see in the next game? What changes do you want to see from the original? Something you didn't like about the original that you want to be changed, you know? Just, I don't know. I would love to see your opinions in the comments. But anyways, that's going to be it from me, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.